Good morning, parents and students. I would first like to introduce myself to you as Mr. Janelle, and I will be your son or daughter's grade 3 teacher this year. As you entered into our newly arranged classroom, I had given you a booklet which included a few sheets of paper. Included in the booklet are the curriculum sheet and the rules and regulations sheet. Let's first start by talking about the curriculum sheet. Jumping from grade 2 to grade 3 is a big leap, and there are many important things we need to cover this year. Being that the students will write their first ever EQAO test, the curriculum focuses a lot on math. In order to make sure your children succeed, I will be doing many hands-on math activities that will be asked on the test. I believe that students learn best visually and by experiencing the problem firsthand. We will focus a lot on math this year so that your children are successful with this math test. On the EQAO exam, there are also verbally written questions. Therefore, we will also focus on a lot of English and language this year. Being that the students will have to compose their own responses, we will be doing many word problems so that the students will have an opportunity to use visuals while also ending their problem with a written answer. One subject I am really looking forward to teaching this year is science. In the grade 3 science curriculum, we will focus on the environment, its challenges, and how we can sustain it. This year, I plan on starting up the Ecosystem Club, and your children will be the leaders. We will be collecting recyclable and wasteful materials from outside and ensuring that they are disposed of properly. I want to teach my students that the environment is important and that we need to do something to sustain it. Other subjects we will be covering this year are art, gym, history, geography, and religion. In art this year, I plan on making my students think outside the box in order to strengthen their creativity and to really think before composing their masterpieces. In history this year, I will be introducing the Indigenous people, a little bit about their history, and we will briefly touch on the residential schools. The reason why we will be covering this year is because I believe that we focus so much on historic events that we often forget about other importances in history. I also plan on teaching my students about the land that they live on and how it came to be. I will also be doing many hands-on activities and crafts in geography to allow them to learn by experiencing the globe. That basically sums up our curriculum for this year. If anyone has any questions, we can go over them at the end of the booklet. If you turn to the second sheet of your booklet, you will see the rules and regulations of the classroom. This sheet is really to give you an insight on what is and isn't tolerable in the classroom. The first rule in my class is inclusion. No one in my classroom will be left behind, and everyone will be on an equal playing field. The second rule in my classroom is equality. In my classroom, there is no student different from any other. No matter the race, gender, religion, or intelligence, every student will be given equal rights. There is a no bullying policy in my classroom because school is supposed to be a safe place for our students. The third rule in my classroom is respect. In order to have a functioning classroom, students need to show a level of respect during class time. I want my classroom to run smoothly, therefore students must raise hands, be polite, and be aware of their actions. The fourth rule in my classroom is resilience. As there will always be students that give up easily, my goal is to get my students to get back on their feet if they fail at something and learn from their mistakes they have made. The fifth rule in my classroom is to be yourself. We are in a non-judgmental environment, therefore I want to teach my students that it is okay to be yourself and to show your strengths and weaknesses. The sixth rule in my classroom is encouragement. When when doing classwork or activities, we all make mistakes, therefore it is important for students to encourage others to do their best and to try again. The final rule in my classroom is to have fun. I encourage all of my students to learn, but also to have fun while doing so, because they only have one elementary experience. Just to recap this meeting, I really want all of my students to learn by experience and to adapt to different strategies that help them learn best. I also focus on inclusivity in the classroom because every student deserves equal opportunities. All of my students will be on equal playing ground, and no one will be left behind or put ahead of any other. I also want to bring awareness to environmental issues and want to be cautious about what we throw away. If any of you have any questions, now is the time. If not, I cannot wait to see what this year brings and to teach this wonderful group of students. Yes, Miss Ribeiro.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, my little boy, my precious bean, he has autism and he's always struggled with fitting in and making friends, and I just wanted to know how you're going to help him throughout this year make some friends and be comfortable in his class for once.
That's a very good question, Miss Ribeiro. As mentioned before, I focus on an inclusive classroom and respect. Therefore, Alexander will have no problems fitting in with any other students. Also, I really want to encourage diversity in my classroom, so this is a perfect way to do so. And Alexander will be an active member of my classroom. Yes, Miss Beef.
Hi, Mr. Janu. I'm just wondering, my son Timothy, so he's like basically the next Einstein. Like, he's brilliant at math and science, but last year in the second grade, he like failed out of history and English. And so I'm just wondering how you're going to keep him engaged in all aspects of learning this year, because I expect him to go to Yale one year, so.
That's also a very good question, Miss Spieth. So yeah, as I mentioned before, I do focus on resilience and encouragement in the classroom, and I actually like to work with all my students individually. So when Timothy's lacking a little bit in history and English, I will definitely encourage him to do his best and never give up in these subjects. Yes, Miss Williamson.
Hi, so I know this school is predominantly white, and I was wondering how my daughter Penelope, who is not white herself, may be better included and allowed to be herself in the school and in classrooms, because I've had issues in the past with her being made fun of for the way she looks.
That's also a very good question, Miss Williamson. So as I had mentioned before, we focus on equality and inclusion in the classroom, and I actually have a no bullying policy. Therefore, Penelope should have no issues with any of the students in the classroom. If I ever notice that your daughter is being made fun of, I will put an end to this immediately. Yes, Miss Tucker.
Hi, yes, so my family and we just moved up here from the United States of America, and I'm not going to beat around the bush for you here, Mr. Janelle. My daughter is a little bit obese, and you didn't really mention anything about the phys ed policy, and I'm just wondering what my daughter's going to have to do in gym class, because she's not going to go hard like it's the Olympic Games, I'm telling you that right now.
That's a very good question, Miss Tucker. I did mention earlier about doing gym class this year, but I didn't mention too much about the policies. So in our gym class this year, I really want to focus on having fun. So even though there will be some students who may not be as physical as others, I do really want to focus on making sure each student has fun with their physical activity and does not push themselves too hard. Thank you so much for coming today, and I cannot wait to see what this school year brings. Have a great day.